Hi, I'm Eric Lanask. We're here at Editor's Day in Santa Clara. In the studio with me this morning is Dave Scott from Livefyre. Dave, thanks for joining me.
Glad to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about social media. Certainly something that there's been lots of conversation around, especially as it pertains to businesses and the relationships with customers. Lots of mixed feelings on that. What are your thoughts?
Well, Eric, I think social media is here to stay. 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have agreed with that statement, but I'm really excited about what's going on with it. At one point in time, in sort of what I call social media stage one, we really thought it was novel, right? Wouldn't it be neat to put out a tweet and see if anyone listens to it? And then in stage two, we realized that there's some real business applications to it. For example, airlines did a really nice job of using it to be able to listen to what their customers really liked and hated about their experiences so that they can do something about it. But what I really like about this next stage of where we're in, this 3.0 stage of social media, is it's really becoming pervasive. It's becoming a real part of the marketing mix. And it's really changing, right? So along with the introduction of social media also came the democratization of brands. So at one point in time, we as marketers could talk about what a brand means, and we could say, come to our hotel room because our mattress is really, really soft, or come to our restaurant because we make the best ribeye in town. But the reality is that no one really trusts that anymore. What they trust is Yelp, where another person went to that restaurant and said the ribeye is really, really good. Or TripAdvisor, where people go there and they say, guess what? This hotel's got really, really soft mattresses. So the reality now is that, yesterday, brands had the ability to create their brands themselves. Today, they co-create it with their customers, their fans, and even sometimes their detractors.
So when you talk about things like Yelp or TripAdvisor, those I see as largely one-way communication. Does social have to be a two-way conversation between a brand and a customer?
I think it can and should. They really ought to be symbiotic. And so when I talk about the fact that really brands are being co-created, I really mean that. Because, as a brand, you still want to tell your brand story, but wouldn't it be amazing to be able to augment that with what the customer is saying about your brand as well? We call that in the space user-generated content, right? A great picture of your restaurant, or a great picture of someone drinking a Coca-Cola, or a great picture of someone running in your Nike shoes. All that's that user-generated content, these moments in time that really that brands can't manufacture. They're great, authentic moments that are being produced every single day. Some 2 billion pieces of social media are created every single day across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so on and so forth. What amazing content to harness.
So if you've got folks who are making comments on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever their social media platform of choice happens to be, have we gotten to a point where those customers or those users have an expectation of return communication in that, if they're complaining about something, do they expect that the brand is actually going to return?
Well, I think that they hope so, right? If they're complaining or they're talking about it, they really want some sort of acknowledgement. It's great when someone follows you or likes you. But let's take it a little bit deeper. What about being able to create a dialogue and a relationship with the brand directly on their owned and operated websites? And that's really what sort of Livefyre does, is that we bring all that social chatter, all that user-generated content. We help you curate and discover it, and then we help you organize it in really meaningful ways so that you can see what's out there, and then we help you publish it on your mobile apps and your actual website. And then we allow people to engage with your brand directly on your website through these social media tools.
Do brands, or do the brand ambassadors, let's say, need, how much training do they need? It's a very different medium than the traditional phone call or even email for that matter. It's a very different kind of conversation. Do they need specialized training, and are we at that point where they're able to do that?
Well, what's funny about it is that it doesn't require specialized. You think about it, social media is the oldest form of marketing. It used to be called word of mouth, right? So what's funny about it is it's just like talking to someone. It's just like you and I speaking about something. Hey, I really love those new Nike shoes that came out. Hey, thanks. That's right. The conversation. And what's funny about it is there's a big joke that a lot of the social media masters that are out there, the experts, are millennials because they grew up using social media, and they didn't have to learn it. They were natively grew up in it. And they're some of the best social media managers today.
Interesting. Why then does it seem like so many brands are struggling with understanding what they need to do around social?
Yeah. Well, I think interestingly enough, brands are scared, right? They're scared of losing control of that. They're scared of losing control of the dialogue. A lot of times people have a big fear that social media is speaking negatively about their business. But when we actually track it on a scientific basis and take a look at what's actually being talked about your brand, usually it's overwhelmingly positive. And as a result, it's just a matter of getting that out and amplifying it. And so what our tool allows you to do is it allows you to sort all that. It allows you to sort the good versus the bad, to find those authentic moments that are interesting for you, and allows you to republish them in a lot of different factors across your website, across your mobile site. It allows you to still continue to publish across Facebook and Twitter. It allows you to amplify those great stories that help build your brand. It helps fill out your content marketing strategy, and doing it all with the actual voice of the customer themselves.
Do you enable integration into other enterprise systems as well?
Yeah, so that's the trick. So Livefyre actually has Salesforce and Adobe as both major investors within the company. And the reason is because they saw the importance of integrating user-generated content in the actual websites that they were publishing and managing. As you know, Adobe is the #1 CMS system out there, and Salesforce has got the largest community cloud platform. So what a great marriage to be able to take all the website components that you're building, for example, and then be able to very effortlessly pull in user-generated content using the Livefyre tool.
So you've talked a little bit about sort of the evolution of social and how that's impacted your platform. Where do you see social media and how it plays into marketing and the customer experience and that customer conversation, and even more so with continued evolution of your platform?
Yeah, so content marketing is the buzzword around marketers today, right? We
Sure.
always talk about the fact that we need a content marketing engine, and even at my company, which is relatively small, I had 5 people who were writing content on a daily basis. But the reality is that as much content as we create, it's dwarfed in comparison by all the amazing user-generated content that's actually out there today. And so what we're finding with some of our companies is they're actually leaving the idea of creating their own content. They're getting rid of those teams altogether, and they're just putting up really interesting social media walls where they're pulling in user-generated content by itself. And in fact, we had a very, very famous video game company who was trying to figure out, what do I do for my website when we're promoting this video game that's going to come out a year later? And they decided rather than videotape the top designer talking about why he designed it that way, or the top animator talking about why he animated the person that way, they just put up a media wall of all the things that were being talked about across the business. Whenever the actual company posted something, they posted it on YouTube or they posted it on Facebook, and it was sucked right into that page. So everything that was being talked about that video game across every single social media platform was all pulled in that one conversation. And using our technology, they were able to have live, interesting, dynamic, authentic content without ever having to write a lick of copy.
Pretty genius strategy.
That's right, yeah.
Excellent. Well, Dave, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
It's my pleasure as well. Thanks a lot, Eric.